every day under the threat of death, I feel discouraged sometimes. Living every day under extensive criticism, even from Negroes, I feel discouraged
sometimes. Listen, 2 cups like ice. Welcome to 2 Cups of Truth Radio TV Podcast. I am your host, 2 Cups, Shouty, drunk as a Jerry curl in here today. With me, I have the queens of the court, as usual, and mic number 1. I got that girl they call D-Royal.
Listen, a rebel for you.
Hey, listen, at mic number 2, you know, she say her famous thing all the time. What she be saying all the time?
What say you?
What say you? I got that girl, Lady X.
Often imitated, never do.
Oh, you already know.
Hey, man, so listen. I don't want to start slow. I want to start fast. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about break fast, so I want to break fast today. I know what I'm saying, because I've been seeing this thing on the internet about this little boy out here, Nas X. He done took a pregnancy photo. Now, you know, everybody on the internet going crazy, but the reason why I want to discuss it, because I want to get behind my dog Boosie. Because Boosie said it won't be long before he turn around and suck a dick on stage.
Okay.
So now I mean,
anything for clout.
And so it's like, you know what? Like, I'm not finna bash Boosie, you know what I'm saying? Even though I wish I would have went to the Boosie bash down there, because I heard they got off down there. But, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to know how you ladies feel about this, you know, to this pregnancy photo.
And I'm going to give that to you, D-Roy.
Are you going to give it to me?
Ma'am.
Well, how I feel about it, I think that this young man is just looking for as much attention as he can get and being as controversial as he can be. He's trying to ride the fence and shake the trees with how he addresses society and the norms. This is very far from norm. You know, people say, oh, it's art, it's artistic. He's artistic and he's showing things in a way to shake things up. I think it's a bit much, me. I'm not quite, you know, ready for those culture shocks just yet.
Absolutely.
So
that's not a hey, I don't agree. I don't think that's a culture shock. I think that's just a man shock or something. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's like, but when the baby came out and said something against, you know, gays and what he felt, you know, they went after the baby. You know, they went after, made him apologize, made him do a bunch of different things. Boosie say something. They not going after Boosie the same way. I wonder why.
I do wonder.
The money. Must be the money.
You think that because the
Absolutely.
baby's
I think because the baby is hot right now. He's very marketable. You know, he's bringing in dollars. He always got a stack of them every time I see him. You know, and Boosie not necessarily. I mean, I believe Boosie is relevant. I love his content, what have you. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But, that's why they're going after him. Because he's more, right now, mainstream, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And if you're not for the foolishness, which I'm seeing in front of me, with this, like you said, this young man with a pregnancy photo, my mind doesn't even let me calculate that. Like, it's
I just
crazy.
don't understand how we're taking it to where he's actually able to raise money with a baby registry. Like, how far are we going with this? Like, we going.
That boy did what?
He raised money for the LGBTQ organizations with a baby registry through this platform. You know, putting out that he's pregnant with this new album of his. But
that's what the pregnancy was.
The pregnancy is
his new album.
It's his new album.
Oh, I ain't know. I just thought that he just wanted to switch roles. Oh,
it's not metaphoric because I'm looking at it right now. It's not It's not a metaphoric nothing. Like, he fully intended to. I mean, he's a marketing. You know, this is all a market ploy, in my opinion.
It absolutely is, but I think he's very serious too. I think he stands completely by it. Like what Boosie said, I wouldn't be surprised if he asked, "Can I do this?"
So extreme, so extreme. Like that shock value, that thing of that nature. And everybody's entitled to how they feel in their opinions and things of that nature. But when you push it, as far as you pushing it to where it's now it's in front of impressionable children and things of that nature, that's a dilemma for me.
Okay, what's legal then? Like what would you not mind your child seeing? I mean, like, because when you turn on the TV now, when you just turn it on, you got kissing of gay couples, heterosexual couples. You got people kissing dogs. I mean, so what is, except even when you watch Disney stuff, they say that the imagery in Disney suggests sex.
It's sexually suggestive.
So what would you like for your child to see?
I would like them to be entertained at their age level. And when I say at their age level, there's shows that come on and there's times that the shows come on, and then that's up to the parent if that child is in front of the television at that particular time that particular show is on. However, when we're just out every day, all day, it's becoming a part of commercials and, just regular advertisement. I have a problem with that. It should be age appropriate. It should be at a certain time, where children are in school, that you're putting certain information out, where they can't see certain things, or late at night.
Yeah.
These it's too much.
They're penetrating the subliminal.
Absolutely, and I think there's an agenda to do so.
Hey, so when it's time to talk about the birds and the bees, you know what I'm saying? At what age is the proper time to talk about the birds and the bees?
When they come to you, because now there is no age.
Right.
You can't say, well, when my child gets 12, you can't say that because technology is allowing them to get access to things
so quickly.
It's so many influences out here. So as soon as your kid comes to you, I don't care what age it is, okay, we need to sit down and talk if it's on your head, if it's on your mind.
All right, so what if you got a child and you say, hey, child, how you feeling today? Say, and your child look at you and say, you know what? And it's a girl, and your child say, I'm feeling like a boy today.
That's interesting.
So what?
That's interesting. Oh my God.
I would ask them to elaborate.
Well,
Tell me what that means. What does feeling like a boy mean? What does that look like? Give me more. Because she's got some information from somewhere.
Right.
I want to identify where, and I want to counter that information. So what's making you feel like a boy? When I say counter it, I want to understand where you're coming from so I can be clear about my response.
Okay. Then.
And that's valid what you just said, because I think that's where a lot of folks may be missing the mark with their child, is not engaging with them and finding out the why. You know what I mean? Too much being submissive, too much being, oh, hush boy or hush girl or something like that, and not really allowing that child to let you know where they're going. Absolutely. Articulate where they are with such things. So. And it's a new day and age. You can't raise these babies like you raised them 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Because if you dismiss them,
world.
Absolutely, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
If you dismiss them, they're absolutely going to find the information from somewhere, and you don't know if that's going to be a reputable source. So you want to make sure that you're the leading influence as much as you can be as a parent.
So you saying if they come to you at any age and ask you about anything got to do with sexuality, whether it's changing their gender, or feelings they having about being sexually active, or not even, I think it's a new term or something. I guess I want to call it a new term, but it's some people out here that are just sexually expressive. Not meaning that they just involved in sexual activity, but they just like to express themselves, and they got sexual behavior. They like to underdress, they like to, when they dance, they like to over-gyrate.
I'm sorry. Let me repeat that. Any age was my answer.
Any age. So they come to you.
Any age.
Yeah, the time is now. Like,
at any age.
When that situation happens, the time is then.
Right then. Do not dismiss that conversation, because if it's on their head, you as the adult can guide your conversation to be age appropriate for them. But you want to hear what they've got going on inside their minds and inside their thoughts.
So your child come ask y'all what happened with Lil Nas X. Whether if you're gonna get him a story, like what is
No.
Like, cause they see the picture and your child asks you.
If my child asks me how does that happen, I would let them know, one, that's a picture that's made out of art. It was meant to be artistic. That's not something that could physically happen from a male perspective. That can't physically happen in real life.
Yep, time to crack open the books.
Okay.
Exhibit A, son. Exhibit A, daughter.
And right, and we need to have that conversation on their level. And that's where I would take that time. Welcome back, good folks. And we are back. Just wanted to add a little something before we move forward. We ended the segment talking about Lil Nas X and how we felt about the picture, about his campaign for the new album that's coming out. I just wanted to add one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
As a boy mom, it is definitely disturbing to me how he puts out his material. Because it makes it hard for me in my household. I do have a 12-year-old. And he questions a lot of what he's seeing, even from him.
As he should.
So it makes it hard to have those conversations. It makes it challenging because I know parents are not probably ready for certain conversations that are coming to them from their kids that they're not expecting to be coming at certain ages. So I think it's overkill, and it makes it extremely difficult, and it's truly troublesome to me. Okay, so just remembering the fact that I'm a boy mom, I just had to get that out. But I do want to get back to remembering something very important.
I would tell my son, though, straight, we can go on to the next thing, but I would tell my son, no, you know what I'm saying, you should, like, no sucking dick. Like, this, like, none of that, like, that's, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do, no, that's wrong. You don't do that. You don't even think that. That's crazy. You don't. I'm getting in trouble. Like, it's 2 cups of truth, so I don't mind getting in trouble. But no, don't. I definitely, as a heterosexual daddy, boy, get yourself knocked out playing. So let's go to the next.
So moving forward, while we are moving back in our thoughts and memory, we just went past a very important date in this country, remembering 9/11. 9/11 is a date that is going to be infamous for many, many years to come. It was a Tuesday on September 11th in 2001 when the U.S. suffered a terroristic attack in which there were over 2,000 fatalities and over 25,000 injured on that day. And that was the 9/11 attacks. I just was wondering if you guys remember where you were.
Absolutely.
On that day.
Absolutely.
What do you remember, ladies?
Well, I know that's the day that the news had literally changed for me. I used to wake up with a popular morning show every morning, 7 o'clock by him. And I remember seeing the look on one of the hosts' face when he was like, reporting like, hey, there's a plane circling. And just the look on his face, I was like, I don't think this is going to be good. Like, you know what I mean? But I proceeded and went on to class anyway. And then, we were pulled out of class, not even maybe 20, 30 minutes later, and everybody was just glued to the screen from that point forward. And I went to school with a lot of people from the metro, New York City area and things of that nature, 5 boroughs and things of that nature. And it was mayhem.
What were the immediate reactions around you? Do you remember that?
Just devastation, confusion, uproar of emotions, as you should. Too close to home.
Yeah.
Too close to home. Seen a lot of people who, just distraught, for lack of better words, over, what was occurring. Like I said, so close to home. Because if you, for lots of folks living in the boroughs, if you commute into Manhattan, that's where it all goes down. World Trade, a lot of commerce going on in that building, those buildings rather. And, it's just something I do not believe I'll ever forget.
Yeah.
Ever forget.
Etched in your memory.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I was in Montgomery, Alabama, on the Atlanta Highway at the Dollar General when when the planes hit. And no, like, so I didn't have a sentimental. My first thought, I was like, I was like, cause everybody was tripping. I was like, well, they must gonna let us walk out here with this stuff for free.
Oh, wow.
Cause you know what I mean? Cause everybody's attention was just gone.
Right, right.
You know, so I was like, well, let me put some more on my basket. You know, I didn't.
Well, I'm glad that you
Hey, I said, let me put some more on my
were
basket.
able to keep your thoughts together.
Yeah, because it didn't, you know, like the magnitude of what was going on at the time. I remember it happening, but the magnitude of what was going on didn't hit me at the moment. And I went in that moment, like, you know what I mean? So, and I know it's other people out there like me, but I know people be lying about they. You ever met people that just have a story for every story you got?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
They
And you
do.
tell a story, you know, about the world trade and where you was and what they felt, and then they want to be deeper than that.
They
oh
did
my
it.
God,
They did it
I
bigger.
almost had a heart attack. No, you lying. No, you didn't. You know what I mean? You don't care nothing about nothing you don't know about. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause there's no way, because you never knew about it. You never knew that. You never had a connection with it. And for me, I never had a connection with New York and the things that's in New York and whatnot. Now, I got compassion for people. Now, once I learned the gravity of what had happened, that's when, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, because the compassion in me was able to speak at that point from a truthful spot.
Right.
Okay, because I do feel for the people who died and for the people who have lost people in there. You know, that's a terrible feeling to be, oh, you know, I know somebody in there, but you wonder, you just automatically got to assume that they did. That's a terrible thing to think about for somebody that you love.
Absolutely.
I get it. But I'm just tired of people lying about it. Everybody talking about everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody didn't feel. It's too many millions of people in this world.
I'm glad for your honesty today.
For everybody to be talking about they felt the same way. That's a lie.
Right. That's why I asked Lady X, because if she was in a crowd full of people, then what were the different reactions that you saw?
Right.
Because, you know, you have to wrap your head around that. Like you said, if you had no connection to it, then that compassion wasn't there without having wrapped your head around what really happened, the impact of it. But having people around you, different people around you, some were crying, some were, you know, like in shock. You know, there's different reactions because you literally have to take in what you're seeing. Is this real? Is this really happening? I remember that day, and I was on Cherry Street in Chinatown, which if I stepped outside of my building, I can see the two towers. So I worked for a courier company at the time. And our guys were getting in so that they could go out to the World Trade Center so that they can deliver packages. So we were in the office early. The gentleman that I worked for whatever reason on that particular day, he said, you know, we didn't really need everybody in at the normal time.
Okay.
For some reason. So it was myself and another driver and another person in the office. And our windows were like from floor to ceiling. And I could hear alarms going off, but I didn't know what the alarms, you know, it was a lot of alarms going off. I had to have somebody call me. A girlfriend of mine called me and was like, yo, there's something crazy going on downtown. I said, what are you talking about? She said, a plane just hit the building. I was like, what? And I'm hearing these alarms, right? But like 2 minutes later, the windows concave like this, like came in, and that was the second plane hit. She said another one hit.
Wow.
I was like, I need to get from down here. Like it started registering in my head what was going on. And when I stepped outside the building, you could see all the smoke. You could see papers flying in the air. You could smell the fire. It just was. And there was a grocery store next door, and the whole store was filled with NYPD and fire department people, and everybody was just stopped for a minute, just looking
in awe, like, you know, just paralyzed in fear or confusion, you know.
So it was definitely a day to remember, a day that if you were cognizant and aware of who you were, you will remember that day.
Right.
That's crazy, man. Like to say that you was there and you get this and you got the smell of it, like you know what I mean, like, you know, it's funny about smell because, you know, like in some of your you know, some of your best moments and some of your worst moments. Like one thing is consistent. You remember how it smelled. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You remember how it smelled when you had a good experience. And you remember how it smelled when you had a bad experience. You know what I'm saying? You know, like smell is like the third eye of life. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cause you might not know where you're at, but you can say, hey, you smell the wrong thing and make you leave some places.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Make
So,
you not mess with it.
right, so for her to go out, I know that had to be a strange smell. You know what I mean? She said like she started to describe gas, like you know what I mean, like a bit like, you know, this jet fuel, this, you know, buildings falling.
Yep.
Hey man, so let's let these people, man. Hey man, let's let these people come in and say what they got to say.
I'm going to school today. I'm the teacher pet. I made the honor roll. Hey, what you say now? My education now. Hey, what you say now? My education.
Welcome back. Big shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to the sponsors, man. Thank y'all for checking in with us. Hey, but moving forward, we got to talk about this lady, this teacher, that think it's okay to act children. Can she use the N-word or something like that? What was it? Hey, D-Raw, what was it? What really happened? Put it in the words so the people, because I don't want to get it right before I get to going off. How did it come out?
Let me tell you, there was a student that was recording in art class at Newton County, Georgia, at Alcovey High School. This is an art class where a teacher by the name of Alexandria Boynton, she was teaching, and on this particular day, she wasn't teaching any art.
Right.
She wasn't teaching any art.
Right.
She asked the student very clearly, say I date a black guy. Then can I say nigga? Because I got a nigga?
Sounds like she needs some life advice that day.
So she was asking the high school students about
Terrible.
whether or not this is okay. Can she get the pass? And that is a life question, I guess. So she went on to ask that question, and while she was asking the questions, all the students was like, no, no, letting her know that that wasn't a good idea. Well, what ended up happening is it was reported to the school administration, and she was suspended. The news came out, and students did speak to the news team and advised the news team that they were uncomfortable with it, that there was no cause for her to have that conversation with them, and they felt it was unprofessional
Absolutely.
and uncomfortable. And they also said they felt she should be fired.
Oh, okay.
Not
I agree.
suspended.
I agree. Listen to kids. You know, even if you watch the clip, even in the positioning of her, she done hopped her little line behind up on that desk and had her legs wide open, bent over, all engaged. You know, I need y'all to help me out.
It looked very
you know what I mean?
friendly.
It looked real friendly and like you said, unprofessional. And you know, she went left, and
You would have thought she was talking.
fortunately, the school system responded. So.
Yeah.
I want to see
That's
further
good.
action though. I'm waiting.
I wanted to hear what the queens of the court had to say. I did. I would say a patient wanted to know like what was real. Here's another case where people be lying. Like this is what I'm talking about. Like people real like you know like I know you know like the lady really should have just came out and said, you know what, I have heard the word nigga. I like the way it sounds. And you know what I mean? And it's just something by saying the word nigga that give you power.
It makes me
And
feel
I'm
good.
saying, man, that nigga is a feel-good pill. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, you hear the word nigga and you hear it in compassionate ways. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Niggas
you can't
ain't
love
motherfucker.
nothing like
I think it's taboo for them. They feel like, oh, it's so taboo. I get to say.
No, they won't, because it's a magical word.
Yeah,
Nigga is magical.
it has
You know what
power.
I'm saying? Niggas built, you know, all the pyramids. It was
It has
niggas.
power. The word
The
itself
word,
has power.
yeah, it does. It's a, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like saying a holy name. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is.
Now we're going down to the left. I went left real quick and gave it to you.
It is almost like saying a holy name. Like, I understand why people, even little kids, no matter what race or nationality it is, even little kids, they want to say nigga.
Yeah.
Like, they want the first word. Don't care. It can be an Asian baby. It can be a Spanish baby. It can be a Puerto Rican baby. It can be a Russian baby. It can be a baby Muslim. It still want to say nigga.
A baby what?
Muslim. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how the Muslims say.
I don't think that's the pronunciation.
Muslim.
No,
that's how they say it in the movie.
Right, but that's derogatory too.
Derogatory.
That's another.
And that's the next
for another day.
That's the next thing people really just be wanting to be just for a little while, not forever, but people be wanting to be Muslim for a little while. Like, people like to do it for like 6-7 years, then they go back.
And then they go back, they revert.
Right, then they revert. You know what I'm saying? But this lady here, you know, she really need to just come out and say, you know, like, obviously she must be dating a nigga.
I believe so. But that's my question. So when you said you wanted to hear from the Queen's Court, I immediately asked my significant other, if you were dating a white woman, would she have the pass to say, my nigga? Would she be able to talk with you in that way? And he was like, no, not for him. He would have to correct that.
Mm-hmm. That's what he's supposed to say.
That's what he's supposed to say.
But
that's what would really happen. That's what I want to know. What would really happen?
Hey, you ain't gonna want to hear the truth.
I want to hear the truth. Is it okay for her to say that?
It depends on if she swallow. Feel how many niggas.
Terrible.
I can feel the blood.
Terrible. Terrible.
It depends.
Please stop.
It depends on how many she done swallowed.
It's draining right there. It's draining all right there.
Oh, you so terrible. But you know what? That actually brings me to my point though. Like, you know, because these the blondies. Let's just say the blondies.
She was blonde.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, in my opinion, they only getting with, you know, our males or our black males for two reasons. And what you just said, and what you just referenced, the swallow, and the fact that she could feel like she could have a pass to say nigga.
Hey, Jack, you know what?
It's crazy to me to have to feel like have an internal pleasure from being able to say that is unbelievable to me. Like,
but you feel good when you say
it. Everybody wants to be a cool kid.
Excuse me?
Everybody wants to be a cool kid at the end of the day.
You're right, and that's how she was sitting on that table.
Absolutely.
Like, she was one of the kids.
Hey, I'm just one of y'all.
Can I say it? Yeah.
Got that ass suspended too, didn't you?
They should have said, no, my nigga. You're fired, my nigga.
Right.
Hey, so that brings me to what Dave Chappelle, like, I don't know if y'all follow Dave Chappelle, but Dave Chappelle was talking about, like, he got in trouble for saying the word gay or saying something about gay. So Dave Chappelle said they called him into the office. He was talking. They were like, you know, they were like, you know what I'm saying. I understand where you're coming from, but you can't use this. Blah 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 blah. He was like, so why can't I say nothing about gay? He said I can't say the word gay. He was like, nah. Then he was like, why? They were like, because you not gay. He said, but y'all let me say the word nigga. He said I can say the word nigga. They were like, yeah. He said, but okay, why? They said,
right.
He said because
there was no logical response.
He said, but I'm not a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So he said, but he can say the word nigga, but he can't say the word gay. Cause he said, cause he can't say it because he's not gay, but he can say the word nigga. So basically that's just, you know what I'm saying. So they still be called, no matter what. Like, people get mad when white people call you nigga, right? And I'm like, they still calling, you still like, white people are not gonna stop calling black people niggas.
Absolutely not.
And we're not gonna stop calling them crackers. We're not gonna stop having it. We're gonna be different. Like, men and women different, whites and black. We just gonna be different from each other.
This is the thing though, like, it's one thing, like you said, to still, you know, reference how you reference in your respective circles. But when you want to be so bold and brass with it, that's where I have a problem.
When you know that
you're literally sitting, we
don't have the relationship for you to say that to me. Especially when you're not of my culture.
Or back to this young lady, where she's sitting in a place of power, position and power, influence in front of these children.
Yes.
And just went at it.
So what if one of them children would have slapped her?
Hey.
that child would have
For
been in
every
trouble.
action, there's a reaction.
There was
That child would have been in trouble. Wouldn't it?
absolutely. There was a teacher
Do
that
you
said
think
to
that your
us,
child should slap her?
excuse me, do I think a child should slap her? I think that if my child slapped her, I would have a conversation with my child about slapping her, and that would
So
probably
I
be it.
like your parenting.
You said you would have a conversation with your child about slapping her for telling your child it's okay for
I
her
would
to
have
say
a
nigga.
conversation with my child about that. Yes, like you cannot physically assault people. That's all. That's the conversation I would have with my son. If my son slapped her for saying that, I would literally have a conversation with my son about that and explain why, as a male, you want to be conscious of putting your hands on females and also putting your hands on people, period. Now, as far as his reaction from that, the frontal lobe don't develop for males. So the frontal lobe deals with judgment and critical
Right,
thinking.
right.
If my son would have lost it in that moment, I could understand why his brain is not
that.
fully formed,
Right.
and you triggered something.
And that's what you're taking to court, that this nigga want to develop.
And see, now let me be real with you. I asked my son the same question I asked his dad. I asked my son, would you be okay with your friend calling you that because y'all are friends?
Okay.
And he
What?
said no. I wouldn't be okay with it. Just simply because if we have any kind of healthy relationship, you shouldn't be calling me ignorant. Because ignorant don't mean black. Ignorant is the attitude, and I'm not ignorant, so why are you calling me that?
Right.
So he would still have a problem with it from a friendship level at 12.
Absolutely. As he should.
Now, these were high school, these were high school students that she was addressing, this Andrea Boyington. These were high school students.
Hey, we definitely gonna have to get back to her in a second, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But hey, let's have a word from our sponsor.
Welcome back. All right, so following up on that N word, let's put that on the bed for now, because I'm sure someone else is going to transgress. Moving on.
It'll happen again.
All right, so let's jump into culture shock.
Culture shock.
Let's speak about those Twitter streaks this week and other things that happened. So this week we actually want to pay homage to a prolific actor of our culture and the contributions that he made. I'm speaking about Michael K. Williams, with over 107 credits to his, in his catalog. Most famously known as Omar from The Wire, also in Hap and Leonard, and also movies like Love and 12 Years a Slave. All right, so what are your thoughts on that?
He will be missed. As far as his body of work, it was solid. Every character that I saw that man play, he was that character.
Believable.
Like he was from birth. He was
talent.
born as that person.
Absolutely.
His level of diversity, awesome. I think he, his contributions to the acting world will greatly be missed.
Absolutely, and I think he has so much more to do.
Oh, yeah.
And thankfully, he did have some projects just wrapping and things of that nature, so we still can hopefully enjoy him for many, many more years to come.
And
So,
just seeing that as his work, but looking at interviews that he had, very genuine, when they see us, oh my gosh, I feel him when I think of him in that movie. He was an outstanding person, and with the things that the gentleman of that film talked about, that he gave them just in conversation was powerful too. So
I love it.
yeah, he was a great spirit.
And our very own Two Cups over there had the pleasure of meeting him.
Oh yeah, hey man, I come from theater world. What a lot of people don't know about me. I come from out the theater. Like I'm a thespian. So my background is theater acting and whatnot, and I have worked with a lot of people. A lot of people die. You don't really care nothing about. That's why a lot of people ask you. That's why I don't ask people no more, like, in the morning, like, how you doing and stuff, because I don't really care. Like, if you really just was honest with yourself, you don't really care when you ask most people how they doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't thinking about them folks. It was just,
something to do.
It was just a
generality.
motor skill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something you was taught to do, but you don't care about them. You know, so for me to say what I'm about to say, like, you know, this guy, Mike, when I got an opportunity to meet him, was a real guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about, like, we were right. He was like, you know, he knew me as a writer. He was like, hey, you know, this is a young writer here, you know, so and they were trying not to, I ain't gonna say the name, but the situation I was in, they were trying not to respect what I had to give. And he was like, you know what, this guy, I'm rocking with him, this guy right here, so because of him, he made that world respect what I was doing in a new way, you know what I mean? So when I tell you, you know, he's a, you know, like, you know, the realness of a person, not like his stardom and what people see him in his work, but for what I seen him do for a guy that he didn't know that long. You know, man, like, you know, and to put your neck out for somebody that you don't really know like that. You know, that says a lot about a person. So that was my experience with him. Then after that, you know, we kind of bumped, you know, here and there again, and the relationship kind of, you know, was what it was. But, you know, of course, I'm where I'm at. He's where he at. So, you know, it ain't a bunch of interaction, but he didn't forget me. I ain't forget him. And, you know, anytime he was able to do something in my favor, he did it every time. So that's all I can say. That's all I know. I mean, that's the real truth.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
He'll be missed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and move on. Let's discuss from these Twitter streets.
Okay. What we got?
Popular, unpopular opinion was placed out there. It says you cannot worship Jesus and drink alcohol. What say you?
The Twitter world said you cannot worship Jesus and drink.
Just pose it out there.
Well,
You
what's
know, just put it out
communion
there.
then? Well, what's communion then? And I want to know, like, whoever put that, I want to know what communion is then. Like, okay, what is communion? Somebody explain communion to me. They say you cannot worship Jesus and have work and drink alcohol or have what exactly they saying? They say you can't worship Jesus or you can't have like a drink together as popular. like what is they saying? They saying
Just
you can't
posing
have
the question, just putting it out there.
I mean, cause Jesus turned water into wine. Well, I mean, but
It was water. He turned it into
wine.
wine.
I'm talking about lit. You talking about
Jesus was
yeah,
lit.
He was
Jesus is
for
lit.
the people.
That's
for
my
the people.
that's my new thing now. Jesus is lit.
Okay.
Jesus is lit. I'm telling you. Hey man, I'm talking about I'm finna make me a water to wine fashion line. It's about to go down.
There
I'm
you
talking
go.
about a water to wine fashion line. Hey, look at this. Hey, what D-Roy, where you at?
I feel like, you know, I can only speak but so much in this area. And in this area, I feel that, like Magic said, you know, he turned water into wine, and it was for the people. So why would people not be able to drink because they worship him? That doesn't logically make sense to me. And again, what is this judgment thing? I thought we weren't supposed to pass judgment. So are we not
That's
judging?
another good
in
Christian
that?
value,
Yeah, I
isn't
just it just keeps going back and forth to me. So I get a little confused. So for
But that's
me,
what niggas do.
I told you last week that I thought you was calling me a nigga. This is the second time I feel like you.
No, I'm talking about you talking about the judgment. I'm talking about
Oh,
niggas be
niggas.
judged.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say that's what niggas do.
That's what niggas do.
Hey, Jeff, I love that you felt personally attacked.
Listen, this is the second time. If y'all look back last week, this is the second time I'm
tell you I call me on that.
But I
my
think that
God.
question is unfair, so to say, because of that fact. There are things where it's talked about that he drank. He drank at the Last Supper. He had a glass of wine and gave thanks to God at the Last Supper. So was he wrong for that?
Well, let's just mark that in this court as an unpopular
Okay.
opinion.
Okay.
What? You talking about that he turned water into wine?
No. That you can't drink and
Hey, you
worship.
can't. Oh, in this. that's right. So that's
Yeah,
right.
so
She
that's
said
gonna
in
be
this
an
court.
yes,
And
it's
she
an
said in this
unpopular
court.
opinion.
Okay, says
Yeah.
okay. I'm with you now.
Okay, that's all right.
She
We're gonna wait
said,
for you.
hey,
We're gonna wait for you. We pull over. We're gonna wait for
hey,
you.
pull over. Pull over.
Put your lights on, please.
Hey, word.
No, also this week from these Twitter streets. Another question was posed.
Okay.
Is the relationship over once the police get called?
Yes,
What say you?
Yeah, I got to hold on. Let me go.
Oh, you gonna go?
Put somebody take the cause first of all, especially in this environment.
Okay.
In this environment where we done had people get killed, blatantly killed by the police, a young lady that been shot while she sleep, and as if your foot wasn't enough, you had to go put your knee on my neck. You know what I mean? Like in this environment, for a black woman to call the police on a black man, she cared nothing about that black man's life. So yes, I mean that's attempted. If you call the police on a black man, that's attempted murder in my eyes.
I feel
That's and so
Okay.
so no. I mean,
I feel a lot of tension in your voice. I feel a lot of weight in that.
Absolutely.
What happens if it's the other way around? For a black man to call
No,
police on
listen,
a
I'm
woman.
caring. Oh, well, he is speaking
Well, how
as a
much
black
she
man.
weigh?
I think he's giving us his perspective. Am I correct in
well, how
saying
much
that?
she wait? You talking about if the black man called?
How much she weigh?
If
Yeah.
the black man calls the police on a black woman,
Yeah,
is the
how much she
relationship over
weigh?
there?
And that they got eligibility now. That got eligibility requirement too.
Oh
Yeah.
boy! What's the back story to
Well,
that?
I mean, no, ain't no back. I'm just saying logically, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we know what I'm saying, we got D. Royal in here, you know what I'm saying? She live where she be. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? She live inside big in nature. You know what I'm saying?
You know, like Cleveland
But you know what I'm saying? But so like a little woman like her, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really got, unless she's shooting at me or something, or, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't really got being in no domestic situation with her where I just can't just hold her down and be still.
No, I'll be still.
Oh,
young lady.
yeah.
And be still, young lady.
That sounds good.
So that sound good. But I'm talking about, but like when you start dealing with 210, 215,
Are you
like
serious?
230, you getting into some power.
Okay.
I'm talking about they get a run and start, it's like it's over with. It's like playing football in there.
Oh,
You
wait.
going-
Like
Wait.
you in. I'm talking about you in for a battle.
So then it's okay to call the police.
It's okay to call the police. Call, you know what I'm saying? It's okay.
Can I ride with you on that? Because that's how I feel. It depends on the relationship. If that man is somebody that you don't want to be bothered with anymore, and I'm not saying call the gun so the gun could be used on the man. I'm just saying if you know this is the end, I don't want anymore, this is it, maybe that is the time to call the police. If it's a situation where it could be worked out, I think, especially like you said, in our climate, we have to be extremely conscious of making that happen. You could be in a domestic situation with a family member and feel like you need to call the police. You know what I'm saying? The relationship matters, and the bond between the people matters. All of that matters in whether you make that call or not.
Wow. So what do you think, lady? It's like.
Yeah, you just throwing it out there. What's your
I
thoughts?
sure am. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, so this
is the
how I feel.
relationship over?
Hell yeah, the relationship over. Especially if you calling them on me. Absolutely. If we have to get to a point for me that I feel that a third party needs to be involved, it's over. You understand that
Always
for
the
me?
third party have to be involved. In every relationship, a third party got to be
No,
involved.
I mean that type of.
You got to have counsel. Sometimes you have to call
Not
counsel.
police counsel.
You know, first of all, you know ain't no.
We don't need your counsel.
They ain't counseling. They ain't coming to
Okay,
counsel.
that ain't what they
and then
coming for.
again, for every action, there's a reaction. So and I'm more cautious in life, so I take that all into advisement. So like I said, even for me to get to that point with you, it's been over. Like you know what I mean? I'm not gonna play around with you.
Well, what if that man says, "Well, you're not little like this girl, and you might give me a run for my money if we get into a fight. So I got to call the police to make sure I'm protected from you."
Get your ass out of here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You heard that?
Got to go.
That's what happens if
Got
if
to
all right,
go.
just want you to be clear.
Hey, so listen here. So now, I don't, condone nobody putting their hands on nobody. I don't condone that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now, what is I want to put this on the court of the queens. You know what I'm saying? So what is legal response for a male I'm talking about in the queen of the court's eyes. We're not talking about the other systems going around here. We're not talking about the judicial system. We're not talking about the morality system and stuff going on. No, so we're talking about merely from the queens of the court. What is legal to, you know what I'm saying, for a male to do in a situation with a woman where he's being victimized physically?
Try and walk away.
I need you to leave. Right.
Try
Exit the
and walk
situation.
away.
There are times where people will get irate and will try to prevent you from leaving, but I need you to do your best to leave.
Okay, so what if you can't leave? I mean, you in a situation where, like, I'm in harm's way. My mama love me too.
The fact that, you know, and you might look at me crazy for this, but the fact that you're a man, I'm going to figure you can lead your way out of that situation some kind of way.
So you would rather a woman kill your son trying to do the right thing or make it home to you?
No, I want him to leave. I want
But
him to get out.
what if his only way of making it home to you is doing what he got to do? He trying to just make
It's
it home.
either call the police or kill her.
Because
Because we were talking about calling the police.
Ain't nobody said nothing about kill her. You want to kill her.
You just said kill. You said, well, do I want him to kill?
I ain't say kill her.
I
I ain't say nothing about killing.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I did.
I thought that's what you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I might have misheard you.
Yeah, you might have misheard me.
If my son is in a situation where he's in a volatile situation and a woman will not allow him to leave, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm talking about she finna knock it block. I'm talking about he got to protect himself or he's
Call
dead.
the cops. Of course, I would want him to call the cops in that situation.
Okay, so he's with him. So he's in a situation with a guy, and the guy is about to knock his block off, or he dead. Then what you want him to do? You want him to fight back then or lead in?
That's valid too, because a relationship is a relationship is a relationship. So it could be between family members,
Right. Could be friends.
you know, friends. You know what I mean?
Strangers.
Absolutely, not just a domestic
Situation.
Right.
If
so
my
you
son
want
is
him to
in a-
fight? You want him to do you want him to fight back? Or not?
I want my son to fight his way out of that situation. and
with
get
the
out of
male,
this-
but
with
not
the
the
male.
but not the female.
Let me explain why. If my son is in a situation where a female is threatening him and the cops are called, is a greater chance that being that he's the one who called the cops and initiated that it will end and he will walk away. If he calls the cops to a situation where it's two black males fighting, the cops are very easy to confuse these days.
Ooh, 2 for
and
one.
they're like, shoot them both.
Right.
So I wouldn't
Terrible.
want that to happen. So
He can get shot either way. So what if he called the cops and when the cops get there, he's dead? Cause she killed him. Cause I just had a homeboy get killed. Rest in peace, K. Rich. You know what I'm saying? Weezy, rest in peace, dog. But that but his old lady killed him. And he was trying to leave. He was trying to do what you said do. He was trying to get away.
that's
He
a
was trying to
very
get-
unfortunate
and she
situation.
killed him. So
In that situation, and it's unfortunate that was the outcome, I'm going to say that probably wasn't the first encounter that they had that was on that kind of level. You know what I mean? Where there was something that says we have a dysfunctional, situation in our relationship. So I it's hard for me to think that the day that he got killed by her was the first time they had their
but
first.
we all are in dysfunctional relationships right now.
I need you to know when to walk out.
But
I
you
need
in
you
a
to know when to
dysfunctional
leave.
relationship. You probably in a dysfunctional relationship. We all in dysfunctional
Some
relationship.
form of dysfunction.
Yeah, we in. So how do we signify
When it
our-
becomes physical, when it becomes physically threatening, when your safety is not just physical, safety is mental, safety is emotional,
Absolutely.
safety is financial. When your safety is in jeopardy, then I need you to be ready to find your execute. And not at the late point of it, when you see them red flags popping up. As early as possible. There's so many people in this world that you don't have to stay fighting with this one when you see them red flags popping up.
Hey, man, like listen. Here's another. See, you know what? I'm just on the truth thing today. Cause people be lying.
Go ahead.
Cause
Go
folks
ahead.
be lying. You know what I'm saying? Like you know
Tell
what
it.
I'm saying? We talking about dysfunctional. We talking about toxic is what it is. I guess toxic. You know what I'm saying? So now. They gave me this analogy a while back. It's hard to see the label from inside the jar.
Okay.
You can't see the label from inside the jar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just as dysfunctional, you just as toxic, but you think everything you say. So how do you know that you don't know what level this other person is on, that you sitting here thinking that you right, you thinking you the right one, you thinking that, okay, it's cool, but now the whole time you making a person every day feel some kind of way, and then they gonna eventually explode. Boom. So how do you know? Because this been toxic the whole time. I mean, the truth is, like, what I'm throwing onto the what I'm throwing out there is a defense for. Sometimes you just don't know, cause you just, it may got physical, but it may have not got physical past your flag. Cause everybody say it was a red flag, but that might not. But that red flag don't carry the same weight with you. Cause you may have come from the hood. You may have come from somewhere you think, oh, that was lightweight. Cause I done seen somebody get killed before. So this little ain't nothing. Well, you may come from a situation where you ain't seen nothing. You just live a really docile life. So any little thing make you run for the hills. So sometimes you just don't know. That's all. That's the case I'm making. Sometimes, like.
Do you think that's the truth? Since we're telling the truth today, do you really think that's the truth? Do you think really that people don't know, or do people dismiss?
Both.
There's a difference between not knowing and dismissing.
No,
because you want something
what weighs
greater.
heavier on the scale? Since we talking about truth, 2 cups, right?
Right.
What weighs heavier on the scale?
Dismissing.
The dismissal?
The dismissing.
Or the in it, like you said, been it and you
If
in
you
it.
just in it and you're oblivious because I'm in the relationship, then you're oblivious. You're just living in the land that I don't know. But when you're living and telling the truth about it, like, I know it's not right that this is happening, but I want to be with him. But he makes me feel good in this way. But we have kids. But we're tied up. Like, when you start dismissing, that's a whole other thing.
Hey, it's crazy because all this the whole show started to come back because this is another one of them things where you don't know now, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean. So you don't know now,
Right.
So like when you love a nigga, you know what I'm talking about? Like like, it ain't nothing like, you know what I'm saying, loving the average man and loving a nigga is two different things. So, when it comes to niggas, yeah, like, you go through different stuff. Yeah, you gonna tolerate different things. Cause can't nothing make you feel like a nigga make you feel. You know, so, now, a lot of them ain't gonna wanna tell that truth. They gonna say, nah, not now, nigga. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie, and they know it. And so, I'm gonna go with the words of this song. Love will make you do right.
Make you do wrong.
And love will make you do wrong.
Yes, it will.
Love will make you come
will.
home early.
It will.
Love will make you stay out all night long.
Yes.
Come on now. So these people ain't writing these songs for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
But see, it's not that they didn't know. They was just in love. And that allowed them to dismiss. So it wasn't a not knowing.
So is dismissal a disease?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They got the dismissal disease.
Dismissal. They got the damn dismissal.
Well, it might be an infection because that comes with fever.
Stomach ache.
Hey,
A little stomach ache.
dismissal.
Sweating sometimes.
Absolutely.
Hey, you say dismissal could be an infection. Wow. You know, I mean, so that's how bad y'all see that. That's how bad the queens of the court sum up. You know, these things when you in these type of situations. Like you said, it's not prone to one thing. It could be family. It can be a job. You know what I'm saying? It can be your own children. I done seen parents get mistreated by their children.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever seen anything like that?
I certainly have. I would hate to be, in that position that they're in. That's a horrible position to be in, but I've seen it. I can't even fathom how they got into that position, but I've seen it.
Wow.
I don't know how that happens.
Right.
Hey, man, so look. Hey, let's do this. Let's get one more break in for the folks. You know what I mean? Cause that was time. Let's give people a chance to cool down a second.
Yeah,
Y'all
let's
get your popcorn.
let's give you a chance to
Call
cool
the
down.
cops. Don't call the cops on nobody.
Right.
talking, yeah. Talking, yeah, yeah. Talking, yeah. Talking, yeah, yeah. Talking.
Welcome back, man. Look, it's been a fun day. This definitely been super fun today. So I mean, just so leading out, I mean, cause we getting ready to wrap this day here up, but leading out though, we was off the record, we was starting to talk about pants sagging and I hate the subject really because people be acting like they know where it came from. So, so now, me just overhearing these, the queens of the court, tell the people what y'all was saying about the pants sagging before I got them get to ripping it apart.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Go on, D-Roy.
Well, what we were talking about was, we started off talking about men in the fashion lane wearing skirts.
Fashion forward men.
Fashion forward men, that's what they're called. Metrosexual, I think that's a word that's being used now too. But wearing fashion that is not what we consider norm. So where men, especially black men, are now wearing skirts or even dresses, that's something that derives from somewhere. So we were talking about, where did it derive from? Did it derive from sagging? Because now we went from sagging and showing our behind
So now you don't even
to
need
now
pants.
we don't even need pants. You just go right on the skirt. So that's how we got into that particular conversation. So
they throwing themselves on the mercy of the court right now. They throwing themselves on the mercy of the court. And they coming to, so here they come, D-Roy, here they come, ladies. They throwing themselves on the mercy of the court. And they asking you, is this right? Is this the right thing for me to do? And what do you say?
Well, the choice is yours. However.
Man, what commercial is there and say the choice is yours? What commercial?
I don't know.
It's a choice. The choice is yours. Where that come? It's something that says that, and it's
I don't remember. It did sound a little.
I'm not going to take away anybody's rights and privileges, okay? However, you want to be in my life as my man, I wish you would. I wish you would.
You wish they would. Wear a skirt?
Wear a skirt.
Meaning the opposite. They ain't gonna come in her life as a man.
Right.
Hey, so now
For me,
you like the macho man. Y'all like the macho
For me,
man.
I definitely am not attracted to that. I'm not attracted to men that look like they're wearing feminine attire.
Yeah.
I'm not attracted to men that are sagging either. And I wouldn't want my child to do it. To take part in that attire. Even skinny jeans I'm not comfortable with, but to be fitted is different from skinny.
Right.
So be comfortable. Your genital region has to breathe. It needs to be able to not be constricted in that way. And
some airflow.
You can't get no more out than a skirt.
as far as a skirt is concerned, I'm not comfortable with that skirt look because it just doesn't. It doesn't say man to me, and I want my man to say man. I want that to be a seen
what's funny?
thing.
When you said macho man, right, a moment ago, I immediately thought of village people. Like, that's why exactly.
When I
And
said
they
macho,
were in that.
I immediately thought of Randy Savage.
Did you really?
That's what I thought of.
That's the second thought I had, but that's
Yeah,
why I
macho
let my
man
giggle
Savage.
out is because I was like, oh gosh,
Yes.
this is just taking us. This is
That ain't no. And that song shouldn't even say macho man, should it?
But hey,
Right.
listen, they was pushing it from back
Listen,
then.
they were
So that
playing
just
around.
goes
This
to
is a cycle.
show. That
These
goes to
people playing around.
That goes to
Listen.
show how long this has been in the air.
But I tell you what though, people can be what they want to be. They can, if they're a guy and want to think they're a girl, that's their right. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they right, but that's their right. So, but I just want to go and say it by name because what brought the conversation up is a guy, Russell Westbrook. I'm talking about this guy in the Apple. 4 triple doubles in 5 years. I'm talking about this unbelievable. 4 triple, now.
He is a star. Absolutely.
Now, Dennis Rodman was the first person to get, win a rebounding he won a rebounding thing, and you know, and he wearing prom dresses and all this stuff. So you know what I mean. So they get on the court and they superhuman beings. They macho on the court, but off the court, you know, like so. It's hard for me to, you know, differentiate the two. You know, like for other people got alter ego. It's cool. Like you know, you have an alter ego that's cool. Like I got Beyonce is what, Fierce.
Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, yeah. So them two alter egos. So I can, you know what I'm saying. I can see the, you know what I'm saying. I can see the difference.
He was on the roster too.
So. With these other people, males doing this, I can't see the difference. It's like, dog, like, no, I can't see this alter ego, even if it is an alter ego. I can't. You
can't differentiate them.
Right. You know, I can't know because, dog, like, you know what I'm saying, putting on the skirt is putting on the skirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one thing I'm not gonna do to get famous, or you know, they can't offer me no role where I put on a dress. I just ain't gonna do it.
I just feel like it's, to me, a man is not sexy to me in a skirt or a dress. That's not sexy to me. Whereas women are sexy to men with skirts and dresses on. So we come from a generation where attire did go by gender, and it did have weight. It did mean something. When I look at a man in a spaghetti strap dress, that's very hard for me to take in as he's just, you know, anything other than being different.
Let's just think about a structure of a dress and skirt, right? So it flares out at the hips because as a woman, you have a natural flow to your hips, a sway,
a wideness to your hips too.
Right. So in us wearing, you know, a dress or a skirt, you know, it's gonna react with us. Like you'll see the flow of that garment. You know what I mean? And what a man don't necessarily have that sway like we do. You know what I mean? So
they had a problem with Michelle Obama's arms being out in a sleeveless dress. Why do I want to see a man?
Better than all the days, so
right. But I'm just saying, as a woman, they had a problem with that. Why do I want to see a man with his biceps and triceps in a tank top? For a woman, that's not something that I find appealing. Wear what you want, like you said. Now it does make the conversation harder when I do speak with my sons about the look.
I mean, listen, I just appreciate that you can have a conversation with your son about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
That you have that safe space, so that's awesome. Kudos to you, Mom.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we definitely create that because I need him talking to me.
Absolutely.
I need to be clear about what's going in, so we can make sure we know what's going to come out.
Stay connected to your child.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I keep the communication open. You know, keep the mental health awareness going.
Safety.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, keep the Christianity going without the alcohol. You know.
Jesus had alcohol, so I don't see why we would have to stop.
Hey, keep, you know.
911 and we done.
Hey, 911. You know, 9/11. You know, hey. Remember, you know, it was college football. It was big. College football really showed, you know, it was the 20th anniversary of 9/11, what we just experienced.
Yes.
And, you know, so, and thinking back, but I think I feel it more today than I did in years past, because, you know, I just never took, you know, honestly never just took, you know, a real, like, look at, like, assessment and, you know, and I know I'm not the only one, but I'm probably the only one that would admit.
Because you could tell the truth.
Yeah, I'm telling the truth.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, but, you know, I felt it, but not like today. I really understand a lot more, you know, what I lived through. Like, even in this moment, COVID, like, you know, it's going to be people that really have to look back at the moment like, dang, you know, I lived through it, but I really didn't take it serious. I'm lucky.
Right.
To get by. So I'm lucky never to have experienced that firsthand. You know, I'm lucky. I was blessed. You know, the rest of the world was blessed. The people that didn't have to go through that were blessed. You know, if you didn't get hit by it, the same way with COVID.
Yeah.
You blessed if you didn't get hit by it. So I just happened not to be hit by it in that moment. But, you know, I do understand what it is now. And I, you know, and I salute it 1,000%. But however, Lil Nas X, we ain't letting you off the hook, buddy. Like, you know, I know D-Ross said it was for your album. You know, you was pregnant with an album. You know what I'm saying? But I would have rather you just use the analogy of you got a queen pregnant with your album. And the queen would give birth to, you know what I'm saying, your masterpiece.
Or you got something cooking. A picture of them on the stove. Or
Yeah.
at the stove.
There's
you know what I mean? Or
different
something.
ways to put
But
that out.
yeah, the bigger they boost this
But
project up, is the more trash I think it's gonna be.
Yeah, but if he give birth to it, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And it come out his butt, it's gonna absolutely be shit. So there's no way it can't be nothing. It can't be nothing else.
Listen.
Hey,
Oh,
I'm
goodness.
done,
I'm
man. I'm
glad we all
done.
wanna
man.
go
Alright,
I'm
yeah.
done, man.
Stand on
Hey,
that.
don't get out of here,
Stand
man.
on that
Peace
shit.
to the people,
Let's
man.
get on that shit. Exactly.
Hey, thanks for listening. We out.
Good day.